But first, it's Henry time.
Okay, I got, how do I tell you this? Bad news, folks. There's a national traffic report coming out. How bad is traffic? The Bay Area didn't do so great. We have the inside scoop for you. We're breaking some news here coming up on KRON News Weekend. Oh, that's ugly. Ugh. Boy, that's ugly. No, not the chart itself, but the number. I don't know if you can read it there, but right there in the middle, maybe your monitor's better than mine. San Francisco, number 7 in traffic. Lila's trying to tighten it up a little there. And 50, I believe it's something like 78 hours every year, San Francisco folks are tied up in traffic. How do we know that? Well, it's this man's fault. Well, our guest is a bearer of bad tidings. Would you introduce yourself and tell people what you do?
Sure, yes. Great to meet everybody. Henry, thanks for being here.
Yeah.
My name's Jim Bach. I work with INRIX company up in Seattle, Washington.
And what do you guys do?
Well, we're no strangers to traffic up there. We do traffic information software for car navigation and for departments of transportation.
So this guy, not personally, accumulated the traffic data, which is going to be released on September 27th,
That's
next
correct.
week by the Federal Highway Administration. And we can't give you too many details because it's embargoed, but we are going to give this little tidbit for you. How's San Francisco doing on traffic since last year?
Well, actually, you know, most of the parts of the country, things are flat. San Francisco is actually going to move up probably in the top 5 of the worst cities for traffic. And, you know, that's not good for folks in San Francisco. The average San Francisco traffic costs them about $1,000 a year in lost fuel, time, and productivity.
What happened?
Well, basically what's happening is what we're seeing is what's interesting is traffic tends to mirror the economy. It's a bit of an economic indicator. So the good news, bad news is when the economy's bad, traffic is not nearly as bad, right? But that also means your 401k and your stock portfolio is not doing very good either. So when traffic's worse, the good news is well, people are working, employment is back, right?
Yeah.
And your investment portfolio is doing good, but that doesn't make you feel much better when you're on the roads every day. So the strong tech sector in the Bay Area has really kind of helped buoy and keep the area going, but unfortunately that means things aren't necessarily, you know, as good for traffic as they are in other parts of the country where, you know, the economy is not nearly as good.
You guys accumulate traffic data, and then you send it out via what services? How do people find out about traffic? I've got a GPS that's got traffic on it. It's a miracle.
Yeah, sure. The key thing, what makes a really good traffic service for folks out there who are using apps like Navigon Mobile Navigator, or even our app, INRIX Traffic, we have a free app for iPhone and Android too, or cars like Ford cars with Ford Sync. Our Audi vehicles now with navigation have our traffic in it. We update the traffic down to those devices every 2 minutes because as current as you can deliver the data, the more reliable it's going to be for folks.
So how do you get the data, though?
So we actually get the data from actual vehicles and devices traveling the roads. We actually, before the advent of the GPS smartphone, we started working with commercial fleets. UPS, taxi cab companies, right? And we said, hey, if you provide us with some anonymous data about the location, heading, and speed of those vehicles, we'll provide you traffic information in return.
So you're crowdsourcing.
And so thus crowdsourcing was born 5 years ago, and now we're starting to see more of these consumer devices coming into the mix.
Well, thank you very much for bringing us terrible news. We'll get the details of it on September 27th. But if you want to check out the app, it's INRIX. You can Google it. It's on iPhone. It's really a cool app, and it's a wonderful service. Marty, do you ever use anything like that to keep track of traffic?
Actually, I don't take BART most of the time. So
oh, you big show-off.
Take the train. You're a good man. You have to be honest, Henry. You have to be honest. But, Jim, I wanted to let you know you might want to head over to Oakland and give us some information on the traffic jam there. There's a huge jam at the Oakland Coliseum. So, Jim, I think you need to head across the bay.
There definitely is. We do track those events because those have a huge impact, as you know all too well.
Definitely. And much more for you on KRON 4 News Weekend. But before we get to that, we want to tell you about a programming note.